Hi there. I'm an alter who doesn't normally speak in the system, and I'm having an excruciatingly difficult time making this video. But I'm going to keep trying, and hopefully this time will be the time that I say what I want to say. So, in this video, I'm just trying to introduce an idea for a blog that I think could bring healing to a lot of people. I have decided that I want to create a virtual cemetery, or memorial, if you will, to honor victims of things like human trafficking, ritual abuse, and mind control, and to specifically give both myself and others an opportunity to grieve our losses in those situations when we didn't have the opportunity at the time. One of the deepest sources of grief for me is that in the situation I grew up in, I was not able to properly grieve for the people that I saw harmed, including myself. A lot of the victims, their families never even knew what happened to them. And while they may have held some kind of ceremony for them where they were from, all they really often knew was that their loved ones had disappeared. And in the meantime, those people were usually killed in horrific manners and their bodies desecrated. And rituals were often held around their deaths, but in horrific ways that were aimed at being maximally harmful to them and their families, and often the entire cultures or countries where they were from. And while I cannot possibly compensate for the loss that the victims I'm talking about experienced and the losses that their families experienced, I feel very, very called to doing rituals of my own that are healing and that are aimed at honoring and remembering them for who they were, not objects for aristocratic predators' pleasure and disposal, but actual living human beings whose life I so consistently recognized but was unable to really do anything to physically honor. So I recently started doing some things around this. I started building some shrines physically, doing art projects to try to memorialize some of these people. And yet it's not enough for me because I really want to actually share it directly with the world. So what I want to do is create a Tumblr where I can share drawings, pictures of things I make, like shrines, maybe poetry, maybe music. I'm not sure how many different forms of media I'm going to be able to create surrounding this in the near future. But I want to have a space where I can do these things and where I can share anything that others who've had similar experiences want to share too. And I want it to be rather broad regarding what is featured, meaning that if you're not a trafficking survivor, but maybe you had a child who disappeared or who passed away and you don't feel like they were properly honored, any kind of loss really that you don't feel for whatever reason you were able to properly honor, I would like to give an opportunity to you to share something. And my focus is going to be on things like ritual abuse and mind control, but I really want to make it clear that I want anyone who has this need to feel like they can participate. If I wasn't afraid of infiltration from abusers, I would make it so that people could submit things to the Tumblr, but I think that what would be best is if people create their own blogs and share their own stuff there, or share their stuff on blogs they already have, and then connect with me about it, and then if I feel capable, I can share it on the blog I run. And I can share links to people's blogs or things like that. I could even, consider talking to people about things maybe they want to do but don't feel they have the courage to do, and I could somehow do something on their behalf if I'm able. I have had very limited capacity lately to talk to people about trauma, and I am afraid that I might find all of this too triggering to be able to properly respond to every single person who reaches out. I don't really even know how much interest people will have in this, but I just want you guys to know that I really want to include as many people as possible in it in a way that's safe, and I will do my best to receive you if you reach out to me about it. And I hope that if I am not able to respond to you for whatever reason, that you won't take it too personally, as I'm probably just triggered and just not capable in the moment for whatever reason. I really hope that you won't take it too personally, and that you will find a way to express yourself and get the witnesses that you need around it so that you can heal. Because I just think that the need to grieve and to ritualize grief is a really deep need it's not even limited to human beings. There are whole other species of animals who need to do this too, and it's something that is stolen from many of us through violence, and it's not fair. It's not fair to the people we've lost, and it's not fair to us. So, yeah, I don't want to make this too long, so I don't want to say too much more. But I do want to add as a note that, a huge source of inspiration for me around this idea was a man named Fred Hampton, who I read about last night on Tumblr. I'm going to put a link to the post that I read. I want to be clear that I haven't been able to research any of it myself yet, so I'm not capable of debating with anyone about the details in it. I will say that everything I read matches up with everything I know about MK and the CIA and the FBI and so on and so forth. And I do have a vague sense around the person I'm talking about, Fred Hampton, from my traumas in MK. I believe that I have heard about him before from there. When I read the post last night, I was deeply emotionally affected by it. And when I woke up this morning, it was on my mind, and I began meditating, trying to reach out with my spirit to Fred Hampton, and I found myself entering this space of connection to all of these children that I saw killed in the situation that I grew up in. And at the time I was working on an art piece, like I said, and I started drawing all these little crosses on the piece in honor of these kids. And at the same time, I felt this deep sense of connection to Fred's spirit. I was specifically trying to connect with the part of him that resides in me, as I believe that at the core of all of our beings is everything that has ever been and ever will be, and that through a deep connection with the self, one can connect with people who are no longer here. And I was looking for the Fred Hampton within me, if you will, and started drawing these crosses, and that's when the idea for all of this formed. And I really just, as strange as it might sound to some people, I want to give the spirit of this man credit for what I'm doing, and I want to dedicate it specifically to him. Okay, that is truly all I have for this. Thank you to those who have listened, and I really look forward to talking more with you guys about this.